Now you're going to need to back up further than that. No, further. Further. Keep going. It's a very big box. That's it, we've got it all in now. GearBest have kindly sent me a massive box. It's the Huajun Quad-copter, U-Fly it's called, and it's the W606-3. This is a massive box. I hope I don't have to assemble the quadcopter because I don't think I'll get it out of the house if I do. It looks really smart. I've not come across this one before. It's a really cool looking quad, and I've not come across this company before either. The graphics and everything are really nice and clean, and it's got this gold text. I'm hoping the camera will pick it up, and it looks really smart. It's really nicely presented. Very plain, very clean lines, and then sort of a close-up of the bodywork on it as well. And like I say, I've not come across this manufacturer before and not done anything with them, so looking forward to getting into it. Let's get it out and see whether I can fit it on the bench. Okay, so that's the cardboard out of the way, and actually it's not as big as I thought it was going to be actually, and it is fully assembled. Now, I actually like quads that are fully assembled and fit back in their boxes, because when you want to take them out you've got something to carry them in without them getting damaged. So I actually find it quite good, but this one just seems a bit excessive on the size, and it's not that massive a quadcopter actually. Everything's well packed. It's moulded polystyrene, as you can see. I'll just quickly show you the other side as well. Everything is put in, you know, nothing's really moved either, so, and it's taped in if it is going to move, so quite impressed with that. Let's get it out on the bench and see what we think. So there we go, managed to get it all out on the bench, no problem at all actually. It's no bigger than quite a lot of my quads actually. It's the same size as a SEMA X8, if that gives you an idea, or a Transfer X6. Or to give you a dimension, it's 360mm from motor centre to motor centre on the diagonal, so it's not a huge quad, but it is a big box, and the nice thing is you can transport it about with the props assembled, so you don't have to keep taking it apart, sticking it back together again on your flight, so I think that's quite a benefit. Running through the whole thing, it comes with some pretty decent looking extended landing gear, but I'm not convinced I'm actually going to use it because there's actually massive great rubber feet on the bottom of the actual quad itself. Let's just put that down and I can show you. There we go, so you've got these which are really quite spongy, and there's nothing that's going to hit the ground when it comes down in contact with those first of all, so not really seeing a lot of sense in the extended gear. I might give them a go, but I don't think they'll be stopping on my one for very long. As you can see, you only get two spare props. You get an A and a B prop for which direction they go in, and normally you get a set of 4, so if you're new to flying I'd suggest you order a set as you when you order the quad, if you're going to get one. And they're quite flexible. I think they're going to get out of the way of anything, but they feel like they would shatter as well, which is a good thing. I'm not a big fan of carbon fibre and such like, where they just would keep going. So, but that's just a personal thing. The screwdriver you get with it, a little Phillips screwdriver, is quite actually a decent one, half decent one. Onto the actual sort of flying kit, you've got the FPV 5.8 gig screen, and I'm quite looking forward to giving that a go. Had a look around it and wondered how we powered it up, and it basically powers up from the transmitter. There's a cable that you get that goes between the two, so that's a different way of doing it, and quite a good idea I think, because you only need the one good set of batteries in your transmitter. It's also got a little micro SD slot here, so I'm hoping you'll be able to record what comes back on the transmission and also record on the quad itself, so that would be rather good. The battery is 1800 mAh. It's a 2-cell 7.4 volt, and it has a balance charger port, and I think that's a JST connector. It charges through the balance port with a supplied mains adapter, and that charges at 850 mAh. So you're probably looking at best part of 2 hours to get it charged up. So I personally would go for a hobby grade charger, because if you're going to get into the hobby at all, you're really going to need one, and that will charge it up a bit quicker as well. So and it will look after your battery. But not saying this one won't, but just once you've got a hobby grade charger, you really don't need the ones that come with them. Onto the transmitter itself, it feels quite plastic. I do like the style of it. It looks rather nice, but it's got that plastic feel. It is a toy grade transmitter, and I'll be running through all the functions and features, because there's a couple of switches, buttons on the back as well, which we'll run through further on in the review. You also get a USB to micro SD adapter so that you can plug it into your computer or your laptop, and you get a 4GB card with it. But you will need 2 cards, I feel, because actually on the bottom here you've actually got a camera built in, which is really smart looking. Nice little camera there, and you've got the micro SD slot there, and then the actual battery bay has a screw lock to it as well, which is rather good. So it does lock it in position, so that can't possibly come out when you're flying. And the other thing I've noticed on the camera is you can actually tilt it down, so it's fully facing down. I quite like that facility, but you'd have to do that before takeoff, obviously. It doesn't seem to want to sit sort of midway. You could just about do it, and even when it's fully round as far as it can go, it's still slightly pointing downwards, I would say. But we'll see how that goes when I actually get it out on the flight. Okay, got the battery on charge, so good time to go through the instruction manual. I always recommend that's the way to do things. The good news is, nice little sort of A5, I would say, pamphlet, leaflet with the instructions in, nice and clear, and all in one language, which I really like. It's a huge benefit, I think. The explanation on the transmitter is very good, though there's a couple of confusing bits with the operation of it, which I've not come across before, so let me get it up in the air and then I think I can sort it out better. Another reason to get it up in the air and sort it out is the translations aren't great from Chinese to English. Happens quite a bit. It's not unusual, but they've tried with the graphics and everything, but it's just the translation. I just need to get that a bit better. If you were new to quads, I think you'd find quite a bit of it quite confusing. Like I say, they are trying with all the, it's got all the basic information, explains headless mode, but in a different way than I would, I must admit. And but it's all, they're trying anyway. So, but basically not great. You got all your spare parts and everything, so they're all listed out, and then it goes on to the FPV and the information you'll get off the actual screen and everything. So nicely put together. Could just do with the wording being better. Okay, so flicked on the quad, as you can see, you get flashing LEDs, and then they go down to a slower pulse. And then when we flick the transmitter on, you get a double beep, and then you just go up and down on the throttle, and then you get a beep, and then after a while the actual LEDs stop flashing totally, and then it's ready to take off. You've got white ones at the front and blue ones at the back. And running through the transmitter, if you want to auto take off, you have this button here. Oops, sorry, wrong one. If I turn it round, you press this one, so that would be on your left hand side, and that automatically takes off, goes up to a height, and then holds a height. If you want to take photos and videos, you use this button on the right. If you press it once, it just takes a still. If you hold it for 3 seconds, you get an extra beep, and then it will start taking video. Then once you've actually done the auto takeoff thing, and I find this very strange, but then the throttle actually becomes redundant. I won't put it up and down because it's bound, so it will try and take off. But what you use for throttle is you use this trim button here, which is normally a trim button, and you go up and down to alter the height. I really don't like the idea of this, but we'll see how we get on, see how it goes when we get out there. The other thing with this is, is the throttle is really loose. The actual, it's not spring loaded like the others. It's got no resistance on it at all, so it literally just drops as soon as you let go of it. So I don't think that's going to be particularly good in flight either. So anyway, that's the way it works. That's if you use the auto takeoff. Now, slightly confusing, if you don't use the auto takeoff and you take off normally just by adding some throttle, once it goes up, then this then becomes your rates adjuster and of speed and everything, and also this alters the whether the lights are on and off. You press it up, the lights go off. Press it up again, the lights come back on. And then if you want to alter the rate, and it always takes off in low rate, you press it down, you get a double beep, and then if you press it down again, you just get a single beep and it's back in low rates. The other trim buttons are normal trim buttons, that's just what they do. If you want headless mode, you press this one here, and then you get flashing LEDs, and then you simply just press that again, that takes off the headless. Altitude hold is this one here, so you press that and it'll hold again. You get the flashing LEDs when altitude holds on, and you could take that off. The other altitude holds I've had, I much prefer it that you can turn it on and off. So once you've leveled it out, you've got where you want to be, you can lock it in, and then obviously the throttle then becomes redundant. And then what you have to make sure is you've got a lot of throttle on, or a decent amount of throttle on when you take that off. If not, it'll just drop out the sky, especially with this one just dropping to the bottom anyway. This one here is just a fake switch, does nothing at all, and this one here is return to home. So press that, you get a double beep, and then you get the really fast pulsing ones, and then it will start heading back to wherever the transmitter was when you took off, and you just flick that off to stop it once it gets in close to you. The other thing obviously we've got on this one is the FPV, and that's 5.8. I'm sorry, pressing the button on the back again. That's quite easy to do. They're in a handy place to press, but they're also, you can knock them. You wouldn't be doing what I'm doing with the transmitter, to be honest, but you can just knock them. So this is connected with this cable here, which it comes with, and it screws on here, no problem at all. It's nice and sturdy, actually.
Just go see whether I can just take off normally. Oh yeah, because there is an auto takeoff with it as well. That is one weird looking quad, isn't it? That's very strange. Actually, the LEDs, you can actually see them, which is kind of amazing. But they're not that bright, to be honest. It's rather cool. It's very gentle flyer as well. There's a little bit of breeze in the garden, not a lot though. It's got altitude hold on it. This actually flies nicely without it on. Actually, just looking at the FPV. Oh yeah, that's full pitch in low rates. Let me just show you that. That's full pitch in low rates, so it's got to be a smooth camera platform. I wonder if it can carry anything bigger than this one. Yeah, that's quite nice actually. Just pop it up into high rate, so you just pull that down. Oh yeah, that's a bit better. I don't know why. I'm going to be honest here. I just feel nervous flying it. It just looks so strange. I don't know why. It sort of feels sort of pancakey sort of thing. It just sort of doesn't look as though it wants to really do anything. But I'm pretty sure after a couple of goes it will. Oh yeah, that's much better on the in high rates. You can turn the lights off, but you can't really see them much anyway. But there we go, that's them off. Oh yeah, they definitely are off now. Yeah, I'll pop them back on. Okay. Oh yeah, let's pop the camera on. Oh, let's try the altitude hold first. That's altitude hold on, I think. Yeah, it certainly is, because I've just dropped the, I don't even see that, the throttle's right off and it's made no odds at all. Like I say, there's a bit of a breeze drawing it across in the garden, but I don't know whether it will climb. No, it won't do anything. I'm going to pop that off. Oh, make sure you got throttle on. Yeah, I've done that on other ones. Let's put that camera on. So that takes a single shot. It just got a little beep on the actual FPV there. It's slightly facing down, which I thought it would be. I'll just try a shot there. It does seem to sort of drift around a lot. It's I don't know whether that's a bit of breeze or what it is, but yeah, it's only got a little bit of a drift on it, but not in one direction. We'll turn it around now. It's still going. That must be breeze then. Okay, and try a flip. I never really like flips on things this size, but we'll give it a go. Whoa! Oh, that one happy little bunny, was it? Try that again. I'll give it a bit more altitude, I think. Whoa, God, you could just see that really struggling in the air. I don't know why they put a flip on it, to be perfectly honest. I have no idea at all. It does headless mode apparently. Again, not one of my favourites, but we'll try that again. I'll put that on. Oh, I was going to flick the video on, wasn't I? Oh, I think that did do video. There we go, now we're videoing, so I'm hopefully... The FPV is actually pretty good. The quality isn't good on the screen, that's the only thing I would argue about, but I'll have to try some goggles on it later. Oh yeah, it's definitely working in headless. Oh yeah, it does work as well. Yeah. Better than some. And it has a return to home. I'm always nervous about these, especially with the big ones, especially so close, but I'll give it a quick go. Yeah, it does work. Oh, it's heading back to where we launched, of course, more or less, anyway. I'll just do that again, just to prove it does work. There we go, you can see it sort of pitch straight off. Actually, I think I can take it out just by using the pitch and roll. Let me just try that again and stop being so nervous. Yeah, you can. So, but then the headless mode switch is still on. So, but that's better than it not being on, I think. Than it not coming out of headless. 'Cause if this thing hit you with these props, it would be messy, I think. I'll have to fly somewhere else and do a range check, because here is not good for a range check. Well, let's just have a quick play. Actually, if I stand in the shade and I can see the FPV a bit better. Yeah, it's okay. It's not great, to be honest. It's quite a narrow field of view, very narrow. Let's just pop that down in low rate, see if I can get some decent video there. Clear video. That is really nice and smooth. I wonder if I can strap another camera to it. I think that could be good fun. I quite like the shadow from it. It's quite cool. I don't think the screen's the best in the world by any means, sort of thing. So, right, let's try this auto land, auto takeoff setup, which I don't quite fully understand. But we'll have a look and have a play anyway. There we go. And then to turn it off, the video off, you have to hold this one. 3 seconds. There we go. And you get beep beep. So I've actually got control of it. So here we go. Yep. So we're normal. So everything works basically, apart from the actual altitude. Apart from the throttle, that doesn't work at all. So it's going to sit roughly at that low height, which is kind of a weird height, I think. And then to get it to go up, you have to use this trim button here. There we go. It actually does work, to be fair. But it's just a weird thing to do. I was not getting it at all. Oh, it seems so weird that you're pushing the throttle and nothing's happening. Just for a normal pilot, I think we'd have real trouble with that. It's just not. It's not right. So if I press to come in and land now, there's one button that you press to land. Oh, that's the camera one, isn't it? Again, so sorry, I've pressed the wrong one. There we go. So I've pressed it. No, it doesn't done anything. I actually have to hold it down. There we go. So I've held it a lot longer. Whoa! And it does this sort of tick a bounce thing. Oh, and then the throttle came back on. Oh, well, that's interesting. Let's just have a quick play with that then. I'll tell you what, once it's actually done something, it's not happy, is it? Once you've stopped it and then restarted it, I don't know what's wrong with it. Alright, so it takes a while for the altitude hold to sort of work. I don't know why I'm using the throttle. Wing and a prayer, I think. There we go, so, and it's really slow on the ascent. So. Well, it does sort of hold in, actually, to be fair. Ooh, I think I might have got a bit wet on that camera. It's not looking happy. So you can descend with that as well. Well, it's quite precise, to be fair. Right, so that camera's not good. But it's really weird that you can't actually change anything. Oh, and you really want to put that throttle up, I tell you. This is worth it just for the challenge. You just had your throttle removed. Excellent. So trying to avoid trees and everything would be hilarious. Yeah. But I don't understand why this functions on here. I really don't. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. So I'm going to do the auto land thing, but see whether I can take it over. That seemed to sort of work. So let's see, that didn't do anything. It's still not landed. See, oh no, it doesn't work there. All you do is just kill the throttle, it just goes into idle when it hits the ground. I have no idea why that functions on here. Absolutely no idea at all. It's strange, where there's no sort of front or rear on it, when you're actually doing a rotate, it's quite difficult to tell. If you're using the FPV, then obviously it's pretty easy. Let's see how we get on with altitude hold today. That's altitude hold pressed. Oh, so that was holding pretty well actually. Yeah, a little bit of flicker on the screen, I don't know why. I don't know whether the altitude hold interferes with it. Let's just give it a quick sort of, just try and judge how far it goes. Well, that's a fair old way. Well, I'll go and pace that out actually, because that's a fair old distance. Oh, well, we know when it cuts out, don't we? It's that far away. Right, Tigger gets a free walk now. Extra treat. Well, that's over 100, way over 100 metres. More like sort of 110 to 120, I would say. I paced it out, so that's there we go. So hopefully we'll have some video to show, but I've got some in the garden anyway. Oh, it's definitely better in high rates. But interestingly, when it ran out of signal, it just dropped, so that was quite a good thing, I suppose. Let's see if we can get that tractor again. There we go, so that gives you an idea of how much that camera's pointing down, and it is pointing down a lot.
So on to the summary, and usually get the negatives out of the way first of all. First negative for me, as soon as I got it out of the box, I don't know whether mine was just broken. I can't imagine it would be, but there's no spring or anything on this at all on the throttle, and it just drops to wherever it wants to really. And when you're flying up like that, it just drops the throttle as quick as anything, so you don't get any feel that way. It just doesn't feel right at all. The other thing I really disliked about it was auto takeoff, auto landing, because then you lose your throttle and then you have to use this trim to actually adjust it, and I just don't get that at all. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. I don't know why a manufacturer would have produced that, but it's the way it is. Perhaps some people will like it and enjoy it, I don't know. On to sort of a few positive things, and I like the fact you can turn altitude hold on and off. That's rather good. I didn't like the fact that you couldn't alter it once it was at an altitude, but that does make sense, I suppose. You've got it where you want it, and it's so easy to flick on and off. It was a doddle sort of thing. The headless mode worked, and the return to home worked as well, so it came back towards you, which was good. I like the fact you got beeps and everything, and you got flashing LEDs on the quad to tell you if you'd activated something, which I always think is a good thing. And these buttons around the back here were actually very easy to find with your fingers. You found your fingers were resting on them as well, so that was good. The flips weren't, I mean, I don't think these things should really have a flip button on them, but it sort of flipped, didn't it? But it wasn't overly happy, and I'm certainly not happy standing near it when it flips either. The FPV screen worked pretty well. It's not the best, but then it's, you know, the whole setup and everything. I haven't taken it apart to find out where the wire is for the connection for the FPV, for the antenna. You could probably draw that out and get better reception on it and everything. The other thing, obviously, it didn't it went about 100 metres and then dropped out of the sky, which I wasn't expecting any more than that, and I think that's quite a long way anyway for me. I don't usually do range tests like that, but it just happened to happen on this particular model. Onto the quad itself, I like the look of it. It looks really different. It's nice to have something a little bit different, and I like the LEDs are good in dim lighting or at night. They look awesome, and they're very clear then, but during the day you can hardly see them at all, and they're virtually useless if you're in any sort of bright light. No chance at all. The landing gear certainly worked, and it had a couple of real big bangs. I've actually bent the props on it, and but everything else, it just fires up and works fine, no problem at all. So sorry, I can't give it a big old thumbs up or a paw up, but if you're after a quad that looks totally different and is awesome flying in low light, and it really does look cool, then perhaps this might be worth a look at.